Good morning, students. Welcome to the digital classroom with Holy Heart Schools. Today we are going to continue with our chapter Weathering. In today's video, we will be talking about effects of weathering and weathering in the different climatic regions. While going through these topics, we will be learning some new words like number 1, regolith, the layer of unconsolidated solid material covering the bedrock of a planet. Number 2, deforestation, cutting of trees on a large scale. Number 3, siltation. Siltation is a process by which water becomes dirty as a result of fine mineral particles in the water. Number 4, landslide, collapse of mass of earth or rock from a mountain or a cliff. Number 5, rockfall, an avalanche of loose rocks. Number 6, laterite soil, soil formed by leaching. And at last we have frost, means frozen dew. So now students, please open up your chapter number 9, topic effects of weathering. But before we start with our today's topic, let's have a brief of the topic. Effects of weathering. The decomposition and disintegration of rocks brings about a lot of changes on the earth's surface. Its effects are both constructive as well as destructive. So let's talk about the constructive effects first. Number 1, weathering leads to soil formation which is required for agriculture. Number 2, various rocks are different in composition, so the rate of weathering is not uniform, which leads to the formation of minor landforms. For example, soft rocks are reduced to form valleys while hard rocks remain as hills or ridges. Number 3, the weathering process leads to exposure of new material which are easily erodible. For example, chemical weathering gives rise to many new minerals having the economic value. And number 4, weathering may provide building materials like cement and limestone. Now let's talk about the destructive effects of weathering. Sometimes in the steep slopes of the mountains, the regolith may slide down the hill due to the force of gravity. This sudden movement leads to landslides, mudslide, etc. Now, next destructive effect of weathering is done by mechanical weathering. Mechanical weathering may cause extensive soil erosion which may affect agriculture. Chemical weathering may dissolve the soluble components of the soil. This may cause the soil to become infertile and also affect the agricultural activity. Weathering breaks down the rock particles and reduces the size of the rock fragments, making easy for the agents of denudation like river, wind, etc. to transport them. Thus, the removal of the weathered material by the agents of gradation expose the underlying rocks to the further weathering. So now let's read. Effects of weathering. Rocks are disintegrated and decomposed. Disintegrated means breaking into smaller pieces due to the work of different processes of weathering. Basically, weathering results in the formation of layer of fragmented rock materials of various sizes on the surface of earth. They produce a large amount of rock waste. Normally, the wastes lie over the unweathered fresh rock and are called regoliths. Regoliths means the layer of unconsolidated solid material covering the bedrock or a parent rock of a planet. The weathered rock material is very useful in the process of soil formation and can also expose to mineral deposits. As we have already discussed that weathering is a creative process. It helps in the formation of soil and some new minerals are formed due to the chemical weathering which is beneficial for economic activities. Next we have weathering can cause damage to human settlements in the foothill zones. Foothill zones means areas on the foothills of the mountains. When the mass movement of the rock waste comes down the hill slopes. Basically in the steep mountain sides, landslides are the result of heavy rainfall. The weight of the rock fragments increases and they are detached from the underlying rock layers. This further makes easier for the regolith to slide down. We know the case of Kedarnath in Uttarakhand. On 16 June 2030, a landslide occurred near Kedarnath temple with loud thunder, followed by the gushing of huge amount of waters from the Mandakini river, which washed away everything in its path. Now next we have that weathering can also obstruct the river channels and may form lakes. This is due to excessive sedimentation which may block the flow of the river. Next we have that the rapid rate of weathering is due to deforestation. Deforestation means cutting of forest on a large scale in the hilly areas can cause overloading of the rivers and retard. Retard means to make slow their flow. This can also cause rapid rate of siltation of riverbeds. Now siltation here is a process by which water becomes dirty as a result of fine mineral deposits on its way. Now here the excessive deforestation will lead to weathering, making it easy for the agents of denudation like rivers, wind, etc. to transport the eroded material. As we all know that the rivers are the main agents of denudation, hence the excessive siltation in the river beds will make the flow of river slow. Now at last we have that the continuous removal and the transfer of disintegrated and decomposed rocks through landslides, rockfall and rock slides etc. can cause lowering of the heights of the affected areas and also helps in the evolution and formation of various landforms. This we have already discussed that the various rocks are different in composition, so the rate of weathering is not uniform, leading to the formation of minor landforms. Example, soft rocks are reduced to form valleys while hard rocks remains as hills or ridges. Now next we are going to start with the weathering in the different climatic regions. As we have already studied that some important parallels or latitudes help in dividing the earth roughly into three heat zones, basically based on the amount of sun rays received by that particular area. Number 1 we have torrid zone, then we have temperate zone and frigid zone. These zones are further divided into various climatic regions. The effects of weathering on the rocks vary according to the prevailing climatic conditions in that particular area. Hence, climate plays a very important role in determining the weathering process of a particular area. For example, in equatorial regions, there is high temperature and high humidity. So these two factors suggest that there will be more chemical weathering in this zone. Now if we talk about the tropical zone, that is the area between 23.5 degrees north to 23.5 degrees south, there will be both dry and wet seasons. Now let's talk about the desert in these zones. There is a great difference of day and night temperature in the deserts, which suggests that the range of temperature is quite high, due to which the rocks here expand and contract, which ultimately results in the physical weathering. So physical weathering is rapid in case of a desert. Now if we move to the wet areas, in these areas the precipitation is high, that means these areas experience high rainfall. Now when there would be high rainfall, the rainwater will react with the rocks of iron and aluminium. There the oxides would be formed, which would lead to the formation of laterite soil. So in the tropical zone, laterite soil is formed due to the oxidation of iron and aluminium. Now moving towards the temperate zones or areas of the mid latitudes. The temperature here is low, so the weathering is because of the frost action. Here we can observe chemical weathering at high level because of solution formation in the areas where the limestone is found. Now moving towards the polar region, here we observe very low temperature, so most of the weathering is due to frost action. which leads to the physical weathering. But here chemical and biological weathering is thought to be negligible, but in the recent studies we have been observing that polar ice cap melts. They contain carbonic acid, suggesting that there is chemical weathering in the polar regions. So now let's read. Weathering in different climatic regions. The effects of weathering on rocks vary according to the prevailing climatic conditions in that area. The climatic conditions play an important role in different weathering processes. Means climate plays a very important role in determining the type of weathering in a particular area. So let's start with the equatorial region. Equatorial region experience the hot and humid climate throughout the year. In such conditions, the chemical weathering is more rapid and continuous. This is because the chemical processes need water and occur more rapidly in the higher temperature. So warm, damp climate is best for the chemical weathering. Now next we have the tropical regions. They have a distinct dry season and wet seasons. The evaporation is high and the oxidation of iron and aluminium takes place. In this region, weathering helps in the formation of laterite salts. Here you can take example of the South India. Basically, laterite soil is a soil and a rock type rich in iron and aluminium and is commonly considered to have formed in hot, wet tropical regions. Nearly all laterites are of rusty red color because of high iron oxide content. They develop by the intensive and prolonged weathering of underlying parent rocks. Now next we have desert regions. In desert region the climate is hot and dry. In such areas mechanical weathering is common. In some semi-arid regions, means areas receiving less rainfall, some chemical weathering also take place. Mostly chemical weathering happens more slowly in desert than in the temperate or tropical climate because less water is available to react with the rocks. Still, rain or dew provides enough moisture for some weathering to occur. In temperate regions, means the areas from 23.5 degree north to 66.5 degree north and 23.5 degree south to 66.5 degree south. Frost means frozen dew is the most common powerful agent of mechanical weathering. Means here the weathering is mostly done by the frost wedging process. Chemical weathering through solution means mixing of soluble minerals present in the rocks with the rainwater is more effective in the limestone areas, means the place where the limestone is found. Now next we are coming to the polar regions, means the areas between 66.5 degree north to 90 degree north and 66.5 degree south to 90 degree south. The climate is very cold throughout the year. The permanent snow cover prevents the weathering of rock surface because here mostly the land is permafrost. At some places due to frost action, means by frost wedging, mechanical weathering can occur. As I have already discussed that it was thought that chemical and biological weathering is mostly negligible in the polar regions, but the recent studies have already proved that melting of the polar ice caps contain carbonic acid, suggesting that there is chemical weathering in the polar regions. So now students, with this we are ending up with the chapter. Please revise the complete chapter and do the related exercises, and please keep exploring. Thank you.